Hey everyone! So, you're thinking about moving to Canada. You've probably heard the term express entry thrown around a lot. Well, in this explainer, we're going to break it all down for you, step by step.
Let's be real. You're dreaming of a new life in Canada, right? You can already picture it. The incredible opportunities, the amazing lifestyle, maybe even the hockey and the snow. And you're not alone. Canada is a huge draw for skilled people all over the globe, and for very good reason.
But the big question is, how do you actually get there? Well, for most skilled workers, the main path is through a system called express entry. Now, I know it can sound a little intimidating, but trust me, it's manageable. We're going to map out the entire journey for you, from start to finish.
All right, let's dive into Section 1. First things first, what is express entry, really?
Okay, the easiest way to think about express entry is like a giant online system, kind of like a digital pool of candidates. It's run by the Canadian government, who you'll see called IRCC, and it's super important to know this. Express entry isn't an immigration program on its own. It's the system that manages the applications for 3 key programs for skilled workers.
And what are those 3 programs? Well, you got the Federal Skilled Worker Program. That's for folks with work experience from outside Canada. Then there's the Federal Skilled Trades Program, which is for, you guessed it, skilled tradespeople. And finally, the Canadian Experience Class, or CEC, for people who've already worked in Canada. Chances are one of these is going to be your route.
Okay, so now that we know what it is, let's get into the nitty-gritty, preparing for your journey. And look, I can't stress this enough. Doing your homework before you start is absolutely crucial. Getting this part right will save you so many headaches down the road. So, what does the government actually care about? Well, it boils down to these key factors. Things like your age, your education, how well you speak English or French, they all count. The big one? You must have at least 1 year of continuous skilled work experience. Plus, you got to prove you have enough money to get settled and, of course, a clean criminal record.
So before you do anything else, before you spend a single dollar or an hour of your time, your very first step is this. Go to the official IRCC website. They have a free online tool. Seriously, use it. It'll walk you through some questions and give you a pretty good idea if you're even eligible to begin with.
Okay, so the tool says you're good to go. Awesome. Now the real work begins, gathering your documents. And just a heads up, this part takes time, so start early. We're talking about getting your passport ready, booking and taking a language test like the IELTS, and here's a big one. If your education is from outside Canada, you'll need something called an ECA, an Educational Credential Assessment. That's just to prove your degree is on par with a Canadian one.
All right, you've checked your eligibility, you've got that big pile of documents ready to go. Now it's time to get in the game and enter the candidate pool.
So, what does that look like? It's pretty straightforward, really. First, you'll go to the IRCC website and create your express entry profile. As you fill it out, the system automatically calculates a score for you. We'll talk more about that in a second. Once your profile is submitted, boom, you're in the pool with everyone else. And then, you wait for that magic email, the invitation to apply.
That score I just mentioned, it's called your CRS score, which stands for Comprehensive Ranking System. And honestly, this score is everything. It's a points-based system that ranks you based on all those factors we talked about: age, education, language, work experience. Your CRS score is what determines your place in line against all the other candidates in the pool.
So here's the bottom line. Your main goal, your entire strategy, should be to get that CRS score as high as you possibly can. A higher score literally means a better chance of getting invited. Every single point matters. You know, getting a slightly better score on your language test, that can be a total game changer.
Okay, let's move on to the really exciting part. This is the moment all that hard work, all that document gathering, and all that score chasing has been for, receiving your invitation. The famous ITA, or Invitation to Apply. It's pretty much what it sounds like. It is the official yes from the Canadian government. It's them saying, okay, we've seen your profile. Your score is high enough. You've been selected. Now you can officially apply for permanent residence. It's a huge deal.
So how do they pick people? It's not just random. About every 2 to 3 weeks, IRCC holds what they call a draw from the pool. For each draw, they decide on a minimum CRS score. If your score is at or above that number, you get an invitation. Simple as that. The catch? That minimum score changes every single time, so you never know exactly what it's going to be.
And when that ITA finally hits your inbox, the pressure is on. A timer starts, and you have exactly 60 days, just 60, to submit your final, complete,
perfect application for permanent residence. This deadline is no joke, which is why we hammered on about getting all your documents ready in advance. You don't want to be scrambling.
Whew, okay. You got the ITA, you submitted your application on time, you've cleared the biggest hurdle. Now, let's talk about the final leg of the race, actually becoming a permanent resident.
So here's what that final sprint looks like. You get the ITA from one of those regular draws. You submit your big application within that 60-day deadline. Then, the government takes over for the processing period, which takes about 6 months. And then, finally, the approval. Your COPR arrives. During that processing time, they're doing all the final checks. Background, medical, making sure everything you said is true.
So, that processing period, how long are we talking? Well, the official target for the government is about 6 months. And I gotta tell you, for most people, this is the most stressful part of the whole thing. The waiting can be tough.
But then, after all that waiting, it happens. The confirmation of permanent residence, or COPR, shows up. This is it. This is the piece of paper, your golden ticket, that officially says, "Welcome to Canada." Your application is approved. You did it.
And that's the whole journey. From figuring out what Express Entry even is, to gathering your documents, getting a score, and finally holding that COPR in your hand. That's the path, from start to finish. So, we've laid out the roadmap for you. You now know the steps that can take this dream of living in Canada and turn it into a reality. The path is clear. So, the real question is, are you ready to take that first step?